Hey, it's Open Space and Equity. We're all about increasing assets and creating new space. I'm here with two longtime friends and family. I've known Kellen Brantley, who is the owner and proprietor of Capbox, as well as Dubs&tires in Miami, Florida. And we're here with his cousin as well, Rodney Murphy of Brew Baby Coffee. So I've known Kellen over 20 years, and therefore I know Rodney for over 20 years. Rodney used to come visit us on campus at Wake Forest back in the early 2000s. Gentlemen, it's a pleasure to have you. I got a lot of questions I'm going to dip into, but we probably get to about half of them because we're just going to let the conversation flow. But it's a pleasure to have y'all.
Definitely, man. Our pleasure, man. Appreciate you. We finally linked up. We've been talking about this for a while. So just a pleasure to support you, brother. I definitely got to catch your stuff in Charlotte. I know you've been putting on something, but I got two little kids, so I ain't been nowhere for like the last 3.5 years. I'm catching up with everybody else's life, but I'm gonna figure it out soon.
I understand completely.
I'm just happy to be here, get the word out, and that's
Rodney,
about it.
Rodney, you guys gonna walk us through that entrepreneurial uh, mastermind the two of you all have. So, Kellen, you spent a couple years in the NFL, and you never went the corporate route. You went straight through entrepreneurship. Tell me about the foundation of that. What did you know when you were in school that that's the route you're going to take when you finish playing football?
Well, I think God guides your path in life, and I think for me, I kind of always knew it. I just know my first job, my experience. I worked at a little grocery store here called George and Jerry's IGA. I think back then you were making like 5.50 cents an hour,
Uh,
and yeah, I'm definitely telling my age right there. And I remember the guy who was in charge of me. He was making like $10 an hour, and I remember getting my first check. I said, after check, after Texas came out, I was like, "Damn, he only making double what I make."
uh-huh.
And I remember the owner. I ended up going to school with his daughter down at Coral Park down here in Miami because I went to Miami Central at first, which everybody knows that's in the inner city. And I transferred to a school down in Kendall, and I was going to the school with the owner's daughter, which is kind of how I got the job. I was like, nah, I got to be him. I got to be him. And I guess the other story that I think really led me, um, y'all know who I am. I'm a little militant. I'm very pro-black, very proud black guy.
Yes.
And man, my experiences at Wake Forest really shifted me to this lane. Coach Grove, uh, I have a very good friend, a very good friend. I call him my white brother,
Uh-huh.
and he doesn't understand everything that we do in our on our side of the world as a black man. But his father always told me the story. He said Coach Grove seen me with the dreadlocks, and he was like, "That kid has to go." I think at that time at Wake Forest, I was on the dean's list the first 3 semesters of my career. And he came in during I guess the third semester of my time at Wake Forest. So I think I was on the dean's list the first semester, my summer semester, the next semester, and the following semester after that, which would be the spring of whatever year that was. And my experience with that, as you well know, I wanted to transfer.
Mhm.
Um, kind of didn't play chess right, and I went to the compliance office, and I told them that I didn't want to be there anymore. And they basically told me, well, since you've admitted that you don't want to be here anymore, you're gonna have to go home. I said, well,
Uh,
Joanne Bradley ain't playing that. I guess I will see y'all that with the conditioning in the morning. But that experience, along with some other um, racially motivated experiences I've had throughout my life, and even at Wake Forest, I said I would never let a man control what my worth is.
yes.
And that spring in football, uh, I think I pretty much showed my ass during that spring going into my sophomore year, which I had a fabulous sophomore year. But I was so angry. I was angry at him. I felt like nobody really had my back. I was so angry, and I just left that experience and some of those experiences saying, I'll never let anybody tell me what I'm worth. And then for me to play like I played that spring and for everybody to start treating me different because my talent now was something that they could use for their benefit and they wanted to keep me. And I don't even know if you know, but like 2 weeks before the first game, Coach Lambert called me and he was like, hey, if you don't cut your hair, you're not going to start. So here I am, this 19-year-old kid, who's had all these experiences. Um, I'm faced with this decision: either I can become a star in linebacker in the ACC, and try to fulfill my dream of going to the NFL, or I can transfer. I think at that time I was still talking to Auburn, sit out a year and not know what's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
So I made a business decision and I cut my hair, and I grew my hair right back out.
Yeah.
Because once I put my play down on the field, I knew that he couldn't bench me for any reason, because what I had showed on the field to the people around,
Mm-hmm.
I now had control and I now had the power.
Yeah.
So that experience alone, after that, I knew I would never work for anybody. Nobody would ever do that to me again. And that influenced my entrepreneurial spirit. And hell, I would have been a business major if I had known communications at Wake Forest was going to be as difficult as it was. I thought I was doing something easy to make my road to the NFL easy, but I must have wrote damn 65 papers at Wake Forest. I'm like, man, I should have just been a damn business major.
Well, I tell you, when listening to what you had to share, first of all, I've heard a lot of it. It really resonated for some reason. When you're young and you're just going through it, you don't think about it. We were roommates in college, so I knew these stories firsthand. But then it was a couple of years back, you told me about the Grove situation with cutting your hair right before the season started, and it just landed differently. And maybe it's life experience, but what you came to or concluded as a 19-year-old, oftentimes we don't visit that as, Black men in the business world, in the corporate world, in the entrepreneurial world. We don't necessarily learn it till our 40s. And then you hit hard like, oh, I'm stuck in this thing because I got this mortgage, I got these kids, I got it. And you got to learn it early. What do you say about, because we had trauma from Wake, but we also have some of our best friends from Wake. We also have some experiences that put us in places that we otherwise wouldn't have been able to get to. As an entrepreneur, you know how much it means to not be too far leveraged, and you come out of school and you don't have any student loan debt. You got some starter money from the NFL. How do you balance the trauma, but also the benefits from a predominantly white institution like Wake Forest University?
Well, I think honestly, as Black men, those are things we've been doing all our lives. I always tell the story about my first experience with racism, and I didn't understand the experience until 2 years, like 2 years after the experience happened. I was at a teammate's baseball party because back then Miami was a little more integrated. Like I lived in a place where there was still I come from a middle class home, so it was a mix at that time. There were still white people in my neighborhood. I know some people who live in Miami from the neighborhood I'm from, around New Birth Church. They would be like, "It was white people here." They couldn't believe that. But at that time, it was. And I had a teammate. I went to a baseball party, and I went to his birthday party, and there was this other white kids that they were terrorizing, and they chased this kid into a tree. I guess this was a kid that they picked on all the time, and we were no more than 7 years old, and he had his bike or something like that, right by the tree. When he ran up the tree, jumped off his bike, and as a kid coming from our community, and not to say anything about everybody else's community, but there's a certain level of empathy that you have as a Black person because of the experiences you have.
Yeah.
And our parents put that in us at a young age, even though we don't even understand that we have it. So they went to jumping on this kid's bike on the big gear, and I had already broke a bike before. I knew if you break the big gear, it's done. Chain gonna keep off, you done. So I was like, no, don't jump on his bike, don't jump on his gear. And I picked the boy's bike up and I put it on the tree. And I don't know if his mother seen me, but I don't think she seen me because she didn't come out but to like 5-7 minutes later. But she came up to this group of young baseball players because I was on their T-ball team or something like that. I think we were still playing T-ball under pitch. And it was Charlie. Yeah. So, and the lady comes out the door. She says, "It's all these kids around who terrorize this guy on a daily basis. I've never been there. I'm just there for a birthday." And she looks at me and she said, "You tried to destroy my son's bike." Oh, no, it wasn't my bike. She said, "You're messing with my son." I was the one person who wasn't messing with her son.
Yes, yes.
2 years later, something else racially motivated happened to me as a kid. And I said, "Oh my God, that lady was blaming me because I was the only Black kid there."
Mm-hmm.
And so those experiences in a lifetime already prepared you for places like Wake Forest. Like you said, like I have some of the best, most wonderful memories that I wouldn't trade for anything at Wake Forest. the one thing that's so beautiful about Wake Forest, and I tell people all the time, is that the Black community was so small that we all knew each other to some capacity.
Mm-hmm.
Even if it was just speaking to somebody with 20 to 40 words, where if you go to a large school, man, you pass Black people all the time, probably never say anything. I can't think of one Black person I didn't have some type of interaction with. And the other thing about Wake Forest is not anybody didn't just go there. And even on the football team, there were only so many of us who had less than 1,000 SAT. I was 1,000 SAT guy. There were some people who did. And not to say that an SAT makes you smarter than anybody, anything. But what I will say about our football team, what I will say about the Black community at Wake Forest, we have a lot of people doing some freaking amazing things.
Absolutely.
And for the small group of people that we have, man, just I guess the lessons that we learn, the type of intelligence that a lot of people have just coming out the box at Wake Forest, and just a lot of experiences from the damn yearbook that said the king and queen didn't represent the school because every year they were Black.
Yeah.
Because we figured out a way that if we all voted one way, if we only nominated one Black person male and one Black person female, all the Black people voted together, mm-hmm. we would be able to elect whoever we wanted every year, which they dismantled that some way. And they started getting, I think, some of the white fraternities got other Black people to run who were close to them or who vibed in those type of environments. And they broke that up. And it was a conscious effort. And it's kind of the stuff that we see throughout history, right?
Yeah.
It's the stuff we see throughout history. So we've been dealing with that so much, man. We've learned how to navigate that. And that trauma is just regular life to us. We don't even, we grow up with that trauma. We don't even feel it as trauma. We don't recognize it as trauma. And we finally get the counseling and all of those different things. And to be honest with you, speaking on that, my junior year, I was freaking depressed. Y'all probably don't know. I was depressed. I was even talking to somebody the other day about depression. And 20 years later, I figured out that there's a tattoo on my arm, which let me know that I was depressed. Going into my senior year, I got a tattoo before the season that says, even in fire, there's light. I have a tattoo of a cross coming out of fire, and it says, even in fire, there's light. So in my 42nd year of age, I was talking to somebody about my experience.
You need a business plan put together? Do you want to study an industry so you can purchase an existing business to add to your portfolio, to vertically integrate the business you already have? Or are you a corporate entrepreneur who wants additional streams of income that doesn't require all of your time and efforts, but the capital resources that you've gained? Well, we can help you do that. How do we do that? Well, with 20 years of banking experience, we can help on the financing side through the traditional bank, the non-traditional capital resources, and through equity. Reach out to us at 214-251-4786, 214-251-4786 for a consultation, or you can reach out at contactobi.com or our website, spaceequitycorp.com. We believe when you have the right team, you come correct and they can't stop you. Let us help you get there.
Somebody about my experiences at Wake Forest, about life, about dealing with depression. And I talk about this tattoo, and I'm like, bro, I knew I was depressed. We didn't say the word depressed back then, but I knew I was depressed. I knew that I was coming out of this moment in my life where I felt like I was going through this immense fire. I was engulfed in this flame of life. And somehow between working out, saying I'm going to find a way to make it to the NFL, just all these different things, I came out of that thing, and I have a tattoo on me that expressed that I actually knew that I was suffering from depression, but never could ever speak those words. So, you know, it's just, we grow up learning these things and learning how to cope and deal with these things. That's just part of our world.
Absolutely. You know, I was smiling when you said that because we were roommates that year. I personally, Rodney, I started my sophomore year with Kellen. Junior year, I came in to see, but no, that same time period, Kellen, I remember that season, Brax beat me out. I was depressed too. We're in the same place. And actually, I was about to, because they were trying to push me out because I had enough credits to graduate. And it was Pace of all people who encouraged me. He's like, man, you're too good at this to let it go. So I stayed my senior year and played linebacker last year with you, really just because Pace encouraged me. But I was struggling that year. So you never know what folks are going through, especially when they're right next to you. We don't even know. We don't have the tools to ask. But Rodney, tell me, when you were visiting us on campus, did you know that you're going to spend a few years later, you'll be in Vietnam looking for coffee beans?
Man, that was nowhere near my thought process. Nowhere near it. When I met you, and I was coming over there on the campus, I was still stationed at Camp Lejeune. I was in the Marines at the time.
Yeah.
I had been in already for about a good 5-6 years already. So I was in a completely different mind frame at that point, you know. And so for me, it was more of one of those, lightning just struck. I was having a conversation with a buddy of mine. It was about a year, I want to say a year, maybe a year out, year and a half out before my retirement.
Mhm.
And he was saying that, yo, what you gonna do? What you gonna do when you get out? And I looked at him dead in his face and I said, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I got 21 years of military service under my belt.
Wow.
He's like, yeah, like what kind of job you gonna get? I was like, I can't get a job. I will not last in the civilian sector. I was like, I am ruined. I was like, for the past 12 years, I've been telling people what to do. I'm pretty sure I'm a walking nightmare for HR. I was like, look how I talk to you. I was like, so I'm pretty sure I'm not gonna make it in the civilian sector. I was like, I got no choice but to start my own business. And he's like, okay, well, what you gonna do? I was like, I mean, this is literally how it happened. I'm not gonna lie. I was a little inebriated. I was a little inebriated. So I was like, man, I don't know. I'm gonna sell coffee. He's like, what you know about coffee? I was like, I know nothing, absolute zero. I know nothing about coffee, but I can open up a coffee company. I'll sell coffee. Okay. He was like, man, whatever. Night goes on, have a couple more drinks. I get up the next morning and it's stuck in my head. Like I could not get that thought out of my head. No matter what I did, I could think about all my favorite songs in the world, everything. I could not get that thought out of my head. So me, I'm an undercover nerd. I like to research. So I went in, I just started at Google. Say, hey, what's the total global economy? Or I didn't know the correct verbiage at the time. I just put in whatever I could. And I just said, okay, how much does coffee, generate revenue globally? I started there. It was a huge freaking number, huge number. And then I looked into it so far as when it comes to the US, how much does coffee, the industry generate in the US? And I looked that number up and I was like, wow, that's a decent number. And I noticed the first thing I noticed that made me want to do it, I saw that during the pandemic, coffee sales went up 31%. So the first thing I thought was, oh, it's recession proof, it's pandemic proof. You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, people are going to buy coffee. And the more and more I kept researching, I started looking more and more to it, the more I kept finding out. And what happened was it just opened up this whole new world that I knew absolutely nothing about. When I say nothing, I knew nothing. First of all, I was a novice when it came to business. This is my first business I have. Well, I want to say my second business. I have another side business. It's a catering business, but the coffee business has taken front. It's more priority now. And it was just all new to me. I knew nothing about setting up an LLC. I knew nothing about any business acumen that you can think of. But first thing I did, well, one of the main things I did, I called him. I called Kelly. I would bug him. I was like, hey, what about this? What about that? I read this. I seen this. I seen that. And he'll give me his input, and I'd be like, okay. So because he was always that grounding piece to help keep me in that realistic, business world. But you got folks that I'm pretty sure there are millions of people out there that want to start a business. There's nothing wrong with wanting, but if you can't get that information and apply it correctly, it's a 99% attrition rate to start businesses for a reason.
Oh, yeah.
99% of businesses fail between first 2 to 5 years. So you're not really considered successful until like the 6th year. And so when I said it kept sticking in my head, I mean, I really couldn't shake it. And then when I saw the numbers and I saw the potential of money to make, I immediately just got to work and I started looking for a supplier. That was the hard part, actually. That was pretty much the hard part. Set up the LLC, set up everything else. I submitted my trademark paperwork. So any of you folks out there that think you can do Brew Baby, don't do that. It's not a good idea. It wouldn't be good for you legally. I encourage any other person that's out there that's starting a business, trademark your stuff.
Yes.
If you got a brand, it needs to be trademarked.
100%, 100%. I'm telling y'all, I'm gonna come out with a book about patents and trademarks. I'm not gonna tell y'all the name because I don't want nobody to steal it. But since he touched on that, Obi, we just talking about business globally.
Yeah.
I just want to tell y'all, this is not even my Capbox right here. This is a Chinese copy of the new plastic box that I have coming out. That's gonna make me rich. So I started with this acrylic box that costs a whole lot of money to make, and the Chinese folks, good Chinese folks on Alibaba, they copied my joint and put it on Amazon. I am currently in a settlement agreement with them. I do about 500,000, 400 to 500,000 revenue top line. They did that in 3 months with this plastic box because you can sell it for so much cheaper.
Woo!
So yeah, they giving me some money, Obi. They giving me some money. They got about 11,000 items stuck at Amazon right now. We actually just signed the agreement this morning. I'm waiting for a wire to hit my bank account so I can release those items so that they can begin selling it. So I'm going to get a pretty good lump sum. I'm going to get a proceed of every box that they sell until they inventory deplete. But in that realm of business, just I wasn't stuck. My mind wasn't stuck. So I got on. My sales start going down, and I'm like, what the hell is going on? Like I make X amount of dollars a day, and so for 2 weeks, I'm like, what's going on? I say, man, let me see if somebody invented something because I thought about this product for so long. Nobody can invent anything, and the way that my item is patented, even the this edge to this edge, the shape is packed. You touch the shape and I'm at you. And this is going to be my second litigation that I've got to pay for. It's not the first, this is the second.
Wow.
So trademark, protect your stuff at all costs. It will pay you. It will pay you. It will pay you. But again, I didn't lose my brain. What I did, I was mad for 10 minutes when I seen it. And you know what the next thing I did? I ordered 6 of them. I got it. I looked at all the flaws. I sent it to my designer. We redesigned it, changed up all the flaws. I got an outstanding box coming out. Should hit the streets in May right before Father's Day. So glasshouseclosets.com. That's the website.
Glass House Closets?
Glasshouseclosets.com.
Okay.
When you looking for that Father's Day present for that hat wearer, I will have a much cheaper box and I will have the premium box as well. You take your pick because both of them sell. But this one right here, this one going to come in the box. This is going to be at the Container Store. This is going to be at Foot Locker. This is going to be at Lids. And if they're not going to put it, I've been in talks with Lids to get this one in stores, but it just hasn't come into fruition because of shelf space. So now that I'm going to have this in a box, we're going to go back. And if they don't, guess what? I'm still thinking I'm going to put a damn kiosk in front of every damn Lids in Miami. And we're going to sell the storage box right in front of every Lids in Miami. And if we can't get your attention through business and through conversation, we're going to get your attention because your employees going to say, hey, they're selling boxes all the time for storage. We can't do anything for storage in the shop. That's what's going to happen. So they're either going to come holler at me in the forend, in the front end, or they're going to holler at me on the back end. One of them going to cost more. So we go get it together.
Yeah, make sure to protect your stuff.
But protect your stuff because not only will it protect your product in the long run, but it also pays. It pays well because you're in control.
Make sure to do that on the front end. Like I was mentioning, like that's what led me to Vietnam. I make sure to pretty much cross all my T's, dot all my I's before I even got started. It took me over a year just to find the farm. So I get my coffee directly sourced from the farm. There's no middleman. There's nothing. I literally go to Vietnam and pick up the beans myself, and I bring them back myself. I'm at the level that I'm at. I'm sort of in the middle. So what happened was once I found that farm, I was surprised it was ready to wheel and deal. I had to go through so many middlemen at a global level, and a lot of times they would hit you with a minimum order requirement, or they just say MOQ. I think the average was like you had to buy a ton of beans, minimum. And I remember being on the phone with one of the guys, and I was like, didn't you hear me just say I'm small batch, just getting started? I was like, you hear me say McDonald's, Starbucks, Dunkin' Donuts? Did you hear any of those words come out of my mouth? I was like, small batch, a ton. I was like, at the most, I need maybe 300-400 pounds to get started. I don't need all of that, And so finally, I found that farm, and they was ready to wheel and deal. And come to find out, it was pretty much a gold mine. This farm, over 40 years, has been in business. It's been passed down through generations, and we incorporate types of processes that what it does, it gives our coffee. Actually, that's what helps give it its grade. That's what puts it in the specialty coffee category. I actually sent it to the Coffee Quality Institute. They're sort of like the international say-so on how coffee's supposed to taste, and they give you an actual score. It's a 100-point checklist, and we scored an 84 on our Arabica category. Anything over an 80 is considered a specialty coffee. So therefore, not only I'm selling specialty coffee, I'm also a novelty. It's not too many of us. When I say us, I mean out of the community, the Black community, there are not that many Black men in coffee. I promise you. If we are few and far between. I'm pretty sure you can do a quick Google search and find out how many actually Black-owned coffee companies there are in America. I'm pretty sure it's not going to be that many. It shouldn't be no more than 30.
And shout out to Mike Lloyd, another Wake Forest guy with dope
coffee. There you go, dope coffee.
I just hooked those two up. I just believe that we should all be talking and we should all be trying to help each other get to the next level. And I believe that everybody has something to give to another person. And if you're one of those people who believe that if somebody else is doing well in your industry, that you can't do well in your industry, you lost. I have an automotive business called Dubs&tires that does auto repairs and sells rims and tires. It's one on every corner in Miami, but we all can eat. We all can do our individual things. They've been selling coffee since before Jesus Christ hit the earth. So, and there's plenty of big coffee companies. So, just encouragement on everybody, man. If you even if you're in the same industry, brother, y'all, everybody can help each other, man. So shout out to him at Dope Coffee. Shout out to him. Like I said, everybody can make some money. I think he's doing what he said, Ethiopian coffee beans.
Ethiopian coffee, yeah. So I specialize in Vietnamese coffee. I get mine from the Lam Dong province. We grow it at about 5,500 feet above sea level, so we pretty much treat them like sea grapes. Well, not sea grapes, but grapes. As you grow grapes high altitudes and make a really fine wine, that's the same way we treat our coffee berry. We grow it at very high altitudes, so you get a completely different taste. We also use a different process. It's called the honey process. So part of that process, we ferment the beans for a certain amount of time, and then we sun dry. And what that does, it eliminates a lot of that bitterness, and it has a sweet finish on the back end. So that's one of my selling points with my coffee. I like to tell my customers the best way to really enjoy my coffee, even if you're not a coffee drinker, a black, 1 spoonful of sugar. And I promise you, it won't be no bitterness. You have that sweet finish on the back end. You taste these chocolate notes, something like chocolate, a little bit of some floral notes, and a bit of berry on the back end with that sweet note. And it takes you to a whole nother level.
Wow.
And for me, when I first tasted, I was like, okay, I knew I was onto something. I spent 21 years in the military. Trust me, I know what crappy coffee tastes like. I promise you that. I know what crappy coffee tastes like. I remember when they first sent me the samples, and I made a cup. Honestly, I didn't know what I was trying to taste for. I had clue. I didn't know what I needed to smell. All I knew, coffee smelled a certain way, and it gives you the poops. It makes you go to the bathroom. It gives you energy, and you go to the bathroom. So as soon as I tasted, I was like, oh, this is how coffee's supposed to taste. Okay. I was like, okay, I'm on to something. Next thing I did, I took it to, I was still in. So I had already finished working. My retirement was gone. I was already done. I was done working. I was done going into work. I finished my last, I want to say 6 or 7 years in recruiting. So that definitely helped with the sales part. I will honestly tell you that. It's a lot easier selling a cup of coffee versus trying to tell somebody, hey, yeah, you should join the Army, sign this contract for 4 or 5 years. So if I can get people to do that, selling a cup of coffee or a bag of beans, it seemed pretty easy to, it seemed pretty easy. And so what I'm learning from this and everything else, is the fact that you have people out there, if you're out there, you want to open up a business, you're going to have to think globally, especially in this day and age. Social media has shrunken this world. Before, back in the day, your knowledge only extended, maybe as far as 2-3 blocks from outside your house. You know what I mean? You had people that you talked to, you rode on your bike with your friends. I'm telling my age too. That was our internet. But the internet has made the world smaller, a lot smaller. Information travels at the speed of light. You can get things done halfway across the world in 5 minutes now versus you got to fly over there, or you got to do this, you got to call this person, or you got to do that, versus 5 days. Now it only takes 5 minutes, And so when I actually got that connect from the Vietnamese farm, once they saw, of course, once they saw I started making the money, they invited me over to come see the farm. I didn't think that it would be that early. I just started this business 2 years ago. So yeah, honestly, I was not expecting to be in Vietnam actually processing coffee. As a matter of fact, I just got back from there the end of December. I was over there for 2 months from October to December, and I actually worked on the farm. If, for folks who ever want to check it out, go to my Instagram. I post up videos of, just a daily thing of what I'm doing on the farm, so far as working, but they show me everything, so not only I can sell coffee, you send me to somewhere that has a region that coffee can grow, I know how to start a coffee farm. That's some knowledge that will never be taken away from me. That is super valuable, And so what happened then with that is, like I said, the only way I can think of was the fact that my suppliers, they saw that I'm passionate about this. I actually have a pretty good brand. It makes good money. And of course, they want to make money. And when they invited me over there, and since then, I've been over there another 4 times, either to pick up beans or to either start another business venture or something like that that's dealing with coffee. And it's something that, once again, like I said, it's a very small community of Black men in the coffee thing. So when I talked to you about it, you told me, you brought a franchise.
Yeah,
it's cool. I'm like, okay, good. At least we got another Black man in coffee. Like that's all. I immediately grinned and smiled when he told me that. He's like, oh, you remember Obi? Yeah, he doing coffee too. I was like, oh, for real? I was like, ooh, I got somebody I can talk about coffee with. It's to the point now where I think I know too much about coffee where it's annoying. It is really annoying. Like if we could be somewhere and someone will mention something about coffee, I can immediately go into a 10-minute rant about coffee.
Yeah.
All day. I can go on a 10-minute rant, but at the same time, I don't like it. I know folks They may be like, you talk too much, but at the same time, I'm
Do
super
you need a business
passionate
plan
about
put together? Do you want to study an industry so you can purchase an existing business to add to your portfolio to vertically integrate the business you already have? Or are you a corporate entrepreneur who wants additional streams of income that doesn't require all of your time and efforts, but the capital resources that you've gained? Well, we can help you do that. How do we do that? Well, with 20 years of banking experience, we can help on the financing side through the traditional bank, the non-traditional capital resources, and through equity. Reach out to us at 214-251-4786, 214-251-4786 for a consultation, or you can reach out at contactobi.com or our website, spaceequitycorp.com. We believe when you have the right team, you come correct and they can't stop you. Let us help you get
super
there.
passionate about it. Like,
Absolutely.
I really like what I do. Selling coffee, actually, it does it for me. It really does it for me.
I think our family kind of got addictive personality. I just told somebody the day I said, you know, I was gonna figure it out because I wasn't gonna give up. He was like, oh, I was gonna figure it out. No, like it took me longer than I thought it would, but you know I was gonna figure it out because
I got a chicken and egg question for y'all. So you both are extremely passionate. Like you said, you got the addictive personality. Is it the passion that takes you to, you know, you didn't know you're going to be in Vietnam. You didn't know you're going to start the Capbox, patent the thing, have to, you know, what takes you to the minutia? Getting into it and then saying, okay, then here's an opportunity here, here's an opportunity here. Or do you conceive of it in your mind and kind of map it out? Tell me about that process, if that makes sense.
For me, mine came about funny. Like I say, just God lined things up, man. How I got into the Capbox was my ex-wife used to have a messy nightstand. And shout out to her. Good woman. I was a terrible man at that time, but we're going to move on from that. But she used to have a messy nightstand. And I thought about this. I said, man, I need something for my hats because I started going balls. Yes, I'm bald. Bald. And man, no, God just put people in your path. And I kept looking for something. I was like, man, everything I find is pretty terrible. But I developed this thing in my mind. I was like, this is what I'm looking for. This was this. I mean, when I first did it, it looked very different from this. And it was just this box that you had access to slide the caps out. I'm not going to get into it because I don't want nobody trying to copy that.
Yeah.
But I got it in my hand and I was like, man, somebody going to put a drawer on this and they're going to take my idea. But that's not what I was trying to get into. I had a guy come into my rim and tire shop, Dubs&tires. And he was like, I was like, yeah, man, I got a couple ideas because I do have some other ideas in my head. I was like, man, I got a couple ideas in my head. And he was like, bro, if you got a couple, and he was like a venture capitalist. Like he invested in people, business, different things. Young black dude. His brother is a high-powered attorney down here. So, I mean, their family is just done things. And he was like, if you have an idea, take 30 minutes. He said, write it down. Draw it up. He was like, you could draw. I was like, yeah, man, I could draw pretty damn good. He was like, draw it up, man. Take some time. He said, because one day you're going to look around and somebody's going to do what you had in your head and they're going to make a lot of money off of it. And you're going to say, damn, I had that. And I literally, 2 weeks after having that conversation, I went home and I started drawing this thing out little by little. So for me, like I've always had these little creative ideas and I'm like a natural problem solver. Even in this business, like I just create like methods of doing things and handling processes and different things. And like, that's just generally who I am. And then the other part of me is just somebody who's relentless. I have another tattoo on my arm that says relentless. I mean, Obi, I think you know me even on the football field. Like, I work hard. Like, I don't think I was the most talented linebacker at Wake Forest. Not saying that I wasn't a gifted athlete. I don't think I would be the most talented person in most places I go. What my mind state has always been was, I'm not going to be outworked. I'm not going to be out hustled. I always say, like, even in football, like, there could have been somebody more talented than me, more stronger than me, more faster than me. But if you looked at film, if you looked at practice, they could guarantee that 10 out of 10 times I'm going at a 10 versus somebody else going to be at a 7. They're going to be 8. They're going to be at a 9. They're going to be at a 10. When they see that they can make a play, they're going to be at, I'm at a 10 when I can't make the goddamn play. Because all I know is to be at a 10. And some way or some form of fashion, I might make the play just because I'm at a 10. That's just the attitude I have in life and in everything I approach. I always have felt like I'm the underdog. I'm the person that has to overachieve, and so I approach everything that way. That's just internally who I have become, and that's thanks to my mom and my dad and how they raised me. So just hard work. I seen it in my dad. I seen it in my mom. That's just has become the, the, the that's become the fabric of who I am. So.
Yeah.
Hey man, I was just straight up with it, bro. I did a business plan. I did a business plan. Took me about 6 months to do it. I had no clue how to do one. You can go on SBA.gov. They give you a template and everything, but that's it. It's just a template. You still have to do the research. You got to look at the numbers. You got to do projection. You got to say, okay, am I going to do this or am I going to do that? And what the business plan did for me, it helped me figure out, okay, how can I start? A lot of folks, I'm pretty sure the first thing they want to do is get a little brick and mortar spot, cafe, things of that nature. Me, I went a totally different route. Sort of same method, but what happened was the method I used, I ended up skipping a step. So I pretty much skipped retail and went straight into distro. I didn't think that it would be to that point because in my mind, I was still thinking on the website, oh yeah, I'm just trying to sell bags of coffee to people. I'm not trying to sell it to coffee shops. I'm not trying to sell it to, organizations across the globe. I wasn't even thinking on that level yet. I didn't know it could get to that. I knew it was at that level, but I didn't think I was in that level. And I sort of pretty much just worked my way into that level just off the start because I don't know how many people actually go into a certain business and they immediately become a direct plug. That's what I became. I became a plug. I knew at some point, I'm pretty sure I had to work my way up, but I didn't expect that, okay, I'm getting coffee straight from a farm. So what that did, that put me in a position to where, okay, I can offer a ton, 2 tons. Let me figure out a way to market to not just, individuals. I started that, but it was slow, and as it continually picked up, it was good. But I made most of my money actually from distribution sales, wholesale, commercial sales. So bulk sales. So what that does, it's a little bit easier, and plus, all I have to do is just maintain the website and things of that nature. A good majority of my expenses is really the travel when I go and pick up the beans. But other than that, most of my expenses, overhead expenses for the business, is just to maintain the website, the email, do some advertisements. So my monthly budget, all inclusive, maybe $500 a month, if that, possibly. And that's only if I'm really pushing advertisement through social media platforms. And
I would have put.
Man.
I want to put together an expense comparison to running a franchise retail to what you just described. Because let me ask you this: do you remember the movie? Have you seen the movie American Gangster?
Oh, I love that movie. Technically, that's what I did.
That's what put in my mind. Like, how are you different than Frank Lucas? Outside of yours was as a legal product, and his was a legal product.
And it's funny too, because in my circle they joke with me. They like, oh yeah, they go to Frank Lucas a coffee right there, But it's true, yeah. Exactly in that movie when he went straight to Vietnam, went straight to the plug. That's exactly what I did. I went to Vietnam. I saw the coffee. I was like, okay, let me figure this out. It's like, are you going to open up a cafe? I was like, no, I already got some coffee shops lined up that want to buy coffee from us now. They're like, really? I'm like, yeah. They're like, so you have no coffee shop? No. I was like, I got a website. I was like, I have that, and that's all I relied on. I just did a lot of techniques I actually learned in recruiting. Like I was doing the old school stuff. I was doing cold call email campaigns, cold callings to every coffee shop in the area. Wherever I was, I would hit up a coffee shop. I would hit every coffee shop in that city with either email or a phone call. Or I just cold call coffee shops. Hey, my name's so-and-so. I'm a new company. I'm at distribution level. How much coffee do you need? And first thing they'll say is, well, how much do you have? I was like, I can supply you with a ton of beans right now if you need to in the next 3 months. And they're like, oh, I don't need that much. And so I started specializing in just small cafes that specialize in specialty coffee because there's this big movement that's happening right now. I'm pretty sure a lot of people are aware Starbucks is getting boycotted. And a lot of individual customers, they're moving back more towards the small artisan coffee type things, specialty coffee. A lot of people is really getting caught on to that. Because in my opinion, from what I've learned so far being in this business as Americans, we've been drinking crappy coffee for a long a long time. Another thing I found out was the supply chain. That I found a little loophole. I wouldn't say a loophole, more of a chink in the supply chain. So let's say your average big company, I'm not going to put any names out there, but a big company that buys coffee in bulk, 6, 7 tons here, 10 tons there, whatever. That takes a lot of time to move that much.
Mm-hmm.
So already you got to count 3 months is going to be on the boat. America, we can't grow coffee. The only place that grows coffee is Hawaii. Yes, it's considered part of America, but you go ask them Hawaiian if they American, they're going to look at you crazy, But technically, yes, Hawaii grows coffee as part of America. That's about the only place that coffee can grow in the Americas. So we import all our coffee.
Yeah.
All of it. That's why last year Americans spent $13.4 billion on coffee and coffee products. $13.4 billion. That's how much coffee we drink. 63% of Americans drink coffee. And 63% of those folks drink that coffee within between the hours of 5 a.m. and 1 p.m. And so what that does, like I said, I got every detail I could get so that way I can sort of formulate my marketing, I can formulate sales points, things of that nature. So if I knew, all I knew was when I saw it, there's a huge demand for coffee and it's not going nowhere no time soon. They already expecting the specialty coffee. They starting to separate it now. So the specialty coffee market by 2030, they're expecting it to be worth 152 billion globally.
Mm-hmm.
That's global. So imagine here, I'm pretty sure we spending, almost 14 billion a year. I'm pretty sure this year we're probably going to spend about 15. And that number just keeps climbing. It's crazy, and that's what motivated me to keep going. Like when I saw the details, I got the information, I applied it, and I want to say almost immediate results. Not immediate, but almost immediate. Like quick enough to where it kept me motivated. I wanted more. I wanted more results. I wanted to sell more coffee. I wanted to know more about coffee. I wanted to get different kinds from different regions. I wanted to offer my customers all kinds of arrays of coffee drinks that I could think of. You know what I mean? And that's what kept me going. But that's how I started it. Like you said, when he got that advice, hey, write it down, draw it out. That's where it starts. Everything starts with a thought. Everything.
You're right.
Everything we're sitting in these chairs, we looking at these tables. Everything starts with a thought. Write it down, and just go from there. Just keep going. A lot of people they just stop, and usually when they stop, they're right there. They stop right before magic happens. Because no one wants to push through. But I got lucky. I managed to see quick enough results to where that kept me motivated, and I wanted to keep going. My background, I would say, my side of the family come from a hustler background.
Yeah, we got some of those too.
Yeah. Yeah. Came from a hustling background. So I already had that in me too.
Okay.
I already had it in me. A lot of folks, they'll tell you like, oh yeah, he always been a sales, so just give me a product. I know about it. I can sell it. I'll sell water to a well, ice to an Eskimo.
Yeah, we all say
yeah, like all those famous cliches.
Yeah.
But the coffee sells itself. It's mainly I'm selling me. That's what I'm selling. I'm selling my passion. I'm selling how much I want to share this like with the world. I want to share this with everybody. I'm proud of my product. And I think people hear that in my voice and they hear it in my, they hear it in my pitch, they hear it everywhere. But that's what kept me going. Like I said, once I started it with the business plan, that's what it all starts. Writing it down. Everything starts with, once you write it down, you have brought it into physical reality. Mm-hmm. If that ain't motivating enough, I don't know what is. You're literally taking an electrical pulse and you turn it into kinetic energy. And then you turn it into words, physical, paper, something that brought it to the physical world. If that don't motivate you to keep going, I don't know what is. You know what I mean? Like that alone right there motivated me. I was like, wow, I literally just came up with $1 million idea.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it just keeps going and it keeps going. But that's what really got me started. So far as the minutia, I look at the numbers. I'm a nerd. I mean, I'm a nerd. Science, math, that's my thing. Numbers. What's the famous line by Jay-Z? Men lie, women lie. Numbers don't. Numbers don't. It's the language of the gods. You know what I mean? Like if you understand math, you should get in the business, in my opinion, because it is numbers. You know, but that's how I started. Just did the business plan. Like I said, it took me 6 months because I had no clue what I was doing. But what it did, it provided a nice little roadmap of what I thought I wanted to happen. And I'm not going to lie. I say maybe only 30% of my business plan actually happened. The other 70% was just
30.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's being generous. That's being generous. You know what I mean? Like that's being super generous. Yeah. Matter of fact, I'll go and say 90% of that business plan I did not execute. The other 90% was literally you have to become a problem solver.
Yes.
You have to just address those problems as they come, especially if you don't know if this is your first time and getting into it. You're just going to have to address those problems. And that's what pretty much entrepreneurship is about. It's about you're that man or woman in that little skiff in the ocean of life, that small little sailboat with a little sail, you just sailing out into the open ocean. And everybody looking like, where you going? Where you going? You be like, I don't know, but I'm pretty sure it's land somewhere else. But your boat is small. That's all right. She's sturdy. And then, but you find out along the way, there's other people in the ocean, like
Yep.
with bigger boats that's willing to help, or that's willing to help you make your boat bigger, so you can traverse these waters of life even easy. But yeah, that's how it started, man. It's like I said, write it down. That is power in writing it down. You are literally taking energy and putting it on paper.
Hey.
That's it. You're changing. What's the word? You're transfiguring energy. You're manipulating energy. When you take that thought, electrical pulse, and you turn it into words on paper, you have brought something from out of your mind into physical reality. That right there enough motivated me.
Yeah. Kellen, so I don't know if you saw the Grammys, but I'm sure you guys both heard Jay got a Global Lifetime Award as after Dre. And he went in and basically said, hey, the Grammys, you haven't done a sufficient amount of work to respect the artistic genius of Black people. My wife got 30-some Grammys and no album of the year. And he went through a line through hip hop. While we were in school, most of y'all were from the South. And there was definitely in the late 90s, early 2000s, this idea that hip hop, since it came out of New York, was more profound than what was being produced in the South. So I got two questions for you. Do you still feel that that's an argument that exists, hip hop from a regional standpoint? And is Jay-Z's plea to the Grammys and white America to appreciate our work a necessary plea, or do we just create our own platforms and not worry about what they're doing?
I heard that speech. Yeah. I heard that speech. I saw that. And me, I'll be honest, we should start our own platform. Why are you sitting there complaining to the Grammys when they've been doing this for decades? This is nothing new. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, so I get, he put some words out there, bringing it to awareness. But how long people been bringing it to awareness about hip hop, the whole genre of hip hop at the Grammys? How long has this been an issue? This ain't nothing new. You know what I mean? Yeah. In my opinion, I think he's wasting his breath. They're not going to listen. What better way? Because last time I checked, doesn't he own Tidal, right?
No, he sold
Tidal.
He got. I think he still got a small minority percentage of collects royalties or something, but he sold the bulk of it. He ended up and got on out of that.
I would have assumed that him being especially the businessman he is. Jay-Z, he's not just an artist. He's more of a businessman than he is an artist. Yeah. He's always been a businessman. I would assume he would have gone for like, okay, you know what? Let me not waste my words. Let's start our own. Let's start our own platform. Let's start our own award ceremony. And let's make sure the folks who putting out the genres that doesn't conform to, societal standards, they get their proper due. They get their proper recognition. Because I'm pretty sure if Jay-Z starts his own awards, type deal, people are going to come. Yeah. They're going to come to that. They're going to watch that.
I got two takes on that. I start there because he started there. One, I think Jay-Z is brilliant for several reasons, and I think we've watched him go through these transitions. So a couple years ago, he made the song "Change Clothes," and he was talking about how he didn't look like all these other people, how you need to go put on a suit and tie. And I appreciate Jay-Z and his evolving to this guy with these big, unruly dreads who's now sitting at the table with billionaires, because I think he realized that he made a mistake in his approach when he was trying to make it in the industry and he conformed to societal standards. And he made those songs about, I know the words, but we're talking right now and I'm trying to talk about it. But they talking about put on the fresh button up, get a tape, go and tape it up. Y'all know what I'm talking about.
Yes.
So I think he realized he made a misstep. And in his older years, he's evolved to this man who's now sitting at the table making billion-dollar deals with dreads on his head. And he's understanding that there is a important part of his growth that he makes this he normalizes this for other people so that they don't have to go through those things. They don't have to experience what I experienced with Coach Grove because somebody has to normalize it. Somebody has to make you respect that intelligent minds live behind bodies and hairstyles and all of these different things that we deal with. So I agree that there always needs to be a Black platform, but I don't think we need to give them their platform because we're saying that you can have this and we're not worthy of being in that place. And at no day will I ever say that Black people are not worthy and that we should not be inclusive in those things because they've been stealing shit from us from rock and roll to, to R&B to pop. That's ours. We admitted that.
Yeah.
So to say that we don't belong in these things, hell no. We do belong, and Jay-Z should speak on it. But what we need to do is appreciate our own platforms because so many people don't show up to the BET Awards and don't show. I don't watch none of them because awards is not my thing. I don't watch the Grammys. I don't watch the BET Award. Somebody got to tell me something about the BET Award, and I'm going to turn it and I'm going to fast forward to it, and I'm going to watch that part, but I'm watch it, but it's not my thing. So I don't know how either one of them look for real. I didn't watch the few BET Awards. I can tell you I've never watched the whole Grammy. I did put on my Facebook that Killer Mike was going to win Best Rap Album of the Year a couple months ago because I could not stop playing it because I could not believe that he put such a fantastic album together.
He
but
did.
outside of that, it ain't my thing. But I do believe that we cannot allow any faction of the world to not include us because whether it's how they dress at the Grammys, whether it's the music at the Grammys, the Black influence on music, we culturally influence music unlike anybody else. Y'all are not going to have an award show that does not include us, and we should get our flowers from Black and white award shows alike. But I do think that we need to put more emphasis in appreciating the things that we have created. We as Black people need to set a higher importance on the things that we have appreciated. So I think that's a twofold question, but no, we kicking doors down and we belong everywhere. And the minute that we retreat on those things is a loss for all of us. We are already in this place where we at now. And so we definitely need to continue to spread that message. And Jake definitely needs to continue to spread that message because it just is what it is.
All right, now that whole thing about, New York and that's where real rap comes. Got it. It originated there. Get it. Hip hop originated there, but that doesn't mean that's where all the good artists come from. I travel the world a lot. If you see the influence of hip hop, not just in America, like matter of fact, if I'm not mistaken, don't most artists make their money overseas versus here? They make most of their money overseas.
I think for touring. Yeah.
Yeah, like when they tour, they make more money overseas. And when I say hip hop is such a big influence, first time I saw it when I got to Japan. My first duty station in the Marines, I was in Okinawa, Japan for 2 years. I think not that first weekend, after I've been there for about some months, I finally got the courage to go out. I made some friends. We go out to this club. And at this time, once again, I'm telling my age. We walk in this club, DMX was playing up in here. Y'all go make me lose Bye-bye. This had to be the funniest thing I ever seen in my life. I'm 19 years old. I see this Japanese woman. She just gyrating. Now, was she shaking? She ain't shaking much. Baby, I felt sorry for her. She needed a couple sandwiches, in my opinion. You know what I mean? But it is what it is. Different cultures, Yes. And so it was amazing to watch this woman. Like, this was a really pivotal point. I watched this woman literally try to lip sync the words. You could tell she didn't know no English, but she wanted to speak those words.
Yeah.
So that's how powerful hip hop is. That's how much influence. Like, that's how much influence we have over the rest of the world when it comes to music, especially hip hop. And like you said, we got rock, you got pop. Yeah, I'm gonna go cuz on this one. Yeah, they've been plagiarizing our stuff for a long time,
Yeah.
a very long time. And me, now that I'm actually in business and I'm doing it, I'm a advocate for ownership. I'm an advocate for it. If someone comes to me with a business idea, I will do everything in my power. I'll probably bully you into making you start an LLC that day.
Mm-hmm.
I will bully you into it.
Now back to this North South discussion, because this go back to college right here. I know that's why Obi. I was definitely a proponent of the South. So we we in Miami. Miami is like this its own little universe. We our own place. Like
Yeah.
if you from Miami, we just have this. Miami have this thing. I don't know how to describe what this thing is to say. But Miami has this thing. If you're a dude from Miami, even football players from even in Florida from general, we just had this different type of attitude. And then you put Miami on top of the Floridian attitude, or just even South Florida in general, because it's Broward, Pompano, all of those guys. We don't give y'all credit. We have this thing, especially in sports. We just had this thing, and it's in music, and it's in all of those things. And the South was just, it was a different time then. Like nobody respected the South. And in Miami, we didn't listen to the same music as everybody. We listened to East Coast rap, of course, because that's where rap originated. That's where it came from. But we have Caribbean influence. We have just different influences in Miami itself, even as
you
a
need a
black
business
kid.
plan put together? Do you want to study an industry so you can purchase an existing business to add to your portfolio to vertically integrate the business you already have? Or are you a corporate entrepreneur who wants additional streams of income that doesn't require all of your time and efforts, but the capital resources that you've gained? Well, we can help you do that. How do we do that? Well, with 20 years of banking experience, we can help on the financing side through the traditional bank, the non-traditional capital resources, and through equity. Reach out to us at 214-251-4786, 214-251-4786 for a consultation, or you can reach out at contactobi.com or our website, spaceequitycorp.com. We believe when you have the right team, you come correct and they can't stop you. Let us help you get there.
You go to a party in Miami and you were gonna listen to the Donkey Kong soundtrack. Yeah. And so we had like old school beats. We kind of had our own sound with Luke, and then we had DJ Uncle Al. Rest in peace to DJ Uncle Al. So we had like this own cultural thing, and then the South kind of had something to say, and I think we had a couple of people, I call them your sons. You had a couple of your sons in the world. All they did was listen to New York. And there was a lot of Caribbean dudes who I call your sons. They were your sons. And, we had like, the South and I think even more going in a little bit later, when the whole Biggie and Tupac beef came, Tupac in the South was different than Tupac in other places. People appreciated Tupac. So when Biggie and Tupac beefed, you had to pick a side. We became West Coast and South fans. We kind of alienated ourselves from the East Coast. If you wasn't Nas and Jay-Z or like one other person, he was like, nah, we'll take the commercial stuff. Give us some Busta Rhymes. Ooh, I got you on the check. We all that. But once the East Coast beat was Bob, it was like a split. And the South. In the South, we explored music. Like you're from Ohio. Bro, I think I was one of the first dudes down here with the Bone Thugs album back in like '93. I remember going to Specs Music across from Peaches across from 163rd Street, and we got the Bone Thugs album, bro. We was on it, man. The Ghetto Boys came out. Correct me if I'm wrong. Had to be like '87, '88. And we was listening to the Ghetto Boys, and then we had our own sound. We had JT Money. I mean, in this day and age, the albums that he put out and what he said on his albums, he would they would have women rights activists and everything. He would make it. First verse he did. Back in 1991, 92, when JT Money dropped the album, The Poison Clan. It wasn't even JT Money. It was Poison Clan. It was JT Money and the Poison Clan. And the Poison Clan. I forget the rest of the movie. But man, that was our sound, man. We was gonna listen to some Luke, because Luke was gonna our parties. If you wanted to see something amazing as a 15-year-old or as a 14-year-old, come see a girl in Miami shake her ass to some Luke, and you gonna change your mind about how much of the rap from Luke you like, because it wasn't necessarily what he was saying, it was what the girls was doing to the music.
Yes.
It was like, whoa, Jesus. we in Pac Jam, and we kind of younger than the original Pac Jam. So I only had a couple of times in there. You was gonna watch something shake. It was a dangerous place. You might get knocked out. Yeah. You was gonna have a good time getting knocked down, and you was gonna not watch something shake. All of those things can happen to you. Luke pioneered that, because Luke owned the Pac Jam, right? Yeah, he owned the Pac Jam. And so, man, like we just kind of culturally had our own thing. So, like when I came to Wake Forest and they ain't listen to Southern music, I'm like, I don't know what trick is.
You know, a perfect example of
what's wrong with y'all?
You know, the perfect example of the diversity of music so far as in Miami. You can, like back in the day, you'll listen to the radio. You would literally listen, pop, Dear Mom, and the next song would be Gloria Estefan. Yeah. And everybody in the car still singing. And you know, like, no problem.
And even female rappers. Remember Aquanet? Yeah. Bro, Aquanet is a Miami legend.
Jackie O.
Trina and Jackie O. Aquanet.
Yeah.
Aquanet was a Miami legend, and I can't remember all her songs, but that was a Miami legend, man. So she's a lyricist too. Yeah, we kind of had like our own thing, and we had a couple of like low-key groups. I remember there was one group I used to love under the Loop platform. I can't remember right now. I've been trying.
You talking about the ones that made that song, Yes Indeed?
Oh, yes. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Yes. I've been trying to think of their damn names forever, bro. Society. Man, we had like our own sound. So we kind of, as a big city, you know, we kind of had like our own thing. So we didn't have to like follow New York. We kind of had like our own thing. So I do appreciate New York, and I probably appreciate New York rap even more now as an older guy than I was when I was young, because we defended the South. Hell, I couldn't believe that people didn't like Outkast. Like Outkast was on the stage at the Source Boys talking about the South got something to say.
No, these they were lying to themselves. What them people that said they didn't like Outkast?
Like Cadillac Music, like who did? Who
how many people had to put on that album?
Man, people didn't know who MJG and 8-Ball was. I was like,
this is my theory. This is my theory on that. Like, so in New York, the music scene was totally different. You had a select few of conglomerates that pretty much controlled the music, and all you had to do was literally hop on a bus, go to Def Jam, go to some other places. Let's just use Def Jam for example. Hop on a bus or subway, go to Def Jam, literally walk in, spit a rhyme or something, do a little couple bars, freestyle for whoever, and they'd be like, you know what? Yeah, let's go. Let's put some money behind them. And next you know, they got a hit on the radio. Yeah. But in the South, it's different. When they say dirty South, that's what they mean. Like, you had to get it out the mud. We don't have no big record execs like right up the street just going in, you know, drop off a CD or a tape or whatever the fuck you want to do now. How they do it, they put it on SoundCloud now. But back in the day, that's what they would do. They'll take a cassette tape or a CD. Hey, here's my demo. And they shop it to everybody. We didn't have that. So you had down here, you got hustlers. They selling out of the back of their trunk. They going. Yeah. So when you go independent, I think what that happens is when you got too many conglomerates or whatever running that, it pigeonholes the artists. But down here, we don't have that. So now you got a more free market of people they can be more explorative, you know, they can be more creative in other ways because they don't have somebody in their ear. No, you got to do it this way because this is what the numbers say versus you ain't got nobody in your ear. And you're like, you know what? I'm just going to make this music. I'm passionate about it. I'm going to be in the mall. Hey, yeah, this costs $7. This costs $7. I think that's my theory on it. Like,
and I think too, the other thing was like New York made like tough guy music, right? And then Miami, we was partying. Like it was ass shaking everywhere. So we didn't want to be. You know, when I see New York and I see old school, they in the club mean mugging.
Yeah.
That wasn't Miami. Yeah. Miami, they was shaking ass. Everybody was having fun. And then we had Shabba Ranks and all the other people come to do the Bayfront Park and all these people, and we was dancing. Yeah, we were dancing. Our party was dancing. It wasn't no tough guy atmosphere. I mean, Miami is we a tough city now, but you know, there was the gunshine state days. But we were when it came to partying and music, man, Miami was fun. We was fun. They was shaking. Women ain't have on no clothes. We was having fun. The 90s was, man, I wish I was a little bit older so I could experience some more of the 90s. Because I've seen some things as a young man. I'm like, dang. But they ain't do that when I got to it. Hey, what happened to that?
Yeah, I'm looking like pretty sure I'm not supposed to be seeing this at this age.
Free they started because they started like that in Atlanta. That was from Miami. We had seen that years before. It migrated on up the coast from Daytona on up to Atlanta, GA. But that's how music was. So music was more of a vibe. It was more of a dance thing. So our appreciation for New York music was that you wasn't gonna hear that in the club like that because we wasn't in there mean mugging. We ain't just want to do like this, man. We needed some of that Caribbean flavor. We needed something shaking and with no clothes on because it's hot down here all year long. Like you said, it's so much. So our music was fun too. So so we played that stuff in our cars and what, but when we went to a party, it was Miami style party music. Let's get it down.
Yeah, everybody can dance. Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Look, I appreciate my appreciation for the South and rap down here was great. Like you said, there was dance music. I think I married my wife off of 400 Degrees because back that ass up. that was it for me. That was it. I didn't know what else to do in the club, but hey, what you learn, and you guys talked about distribution. That we'll wrap this back around to the entrepreneurial thing. Master P was never a dope lyricist, but as far as learning how to be a businessman within the industry, he could write a book on it. And where he is today was because of his entrepreneurial spirit that didn't necessarily exist as much in the North because you already had a conglomerate or corporate vibe to it. But down here, I guess in Houston, you had Rap-A-Lot Records. And in Atlanta, you probably had, that was really before Jermaine Dupri, but you didn't have the consolidation. And you also have what you guys described as y'all didn't even know what not being an entrepreneur was. I know, Rodney, with you with the military background, you're like, it's too late for me to try to go that corporate route. And then Kellen, from what you described, but those things also are a blessing that now you 20 plus years into entrepreneurship, you don't see a different way, but now you've shown a path for your son and your daughter that is legacy building, that is generation building, because you can do this. No, if you have a brain, as Rodney shared, and taking that thought, that electrical pulse into kinetic energy, and then fulfilling it, now you energize other people, and now people want to move you down a path that you didn't even consider before.
Yeah.
And part of doing this podcast was I was so excited about getting Kellen's call and then hearing, Rodney, you've gone down a different path in the coffee business and seeing how that thrives for you versus, hey, the good thing about business or the challenging in business is that, hey, you can fail, you can fall, but you can also get back up. And then you see how to do it better the next time. It's like, this brother, he went down the independent route, the distribution route, and I'm looking at his overhead is like this. The overhead in the franchise business is like this. And you're like, oh, okay, there's a better way to do this thing. But as Kellen said, if we know what each other are doing, then we can be that iron to sharpen one another's iron instead of doing an independent here, doing an independent here, and not connecting the dots. So that's part of my bigger goal is to make sure that we stay connected, because T Weezy don't need to be he's doing a great job, but all of us in our different industries need to stay connected. What's going on?
It's hard. It's hard, man. Everybody busy, but like as soon as he came and I didn't connect it, he came from Vietnam. I say, oh, my homeboy Obi just got in the coffee business. I say, man, I'm gonna call him right now. And with no hesitation, I called you because like I know that is the one place as Black people in business where we are failing. We are all trying to outdo each other instead of participating with each other so that everyone can grow. And it's like people don't understand that you can be on the same racetrack going down a different lane and everybody can be winning.
Yes.
I just don't get it. I've never gotten it. When people are hesitant, you ain't got no damn secret about coffee. Coffee beans been around since damn inception. They got coffee beans on the Egyptian pyramids. You can't beat nobody in coffee.
Yeah.
It's been around since the beginning of time. How are you going to shape your lane in coffee so that you can provide for your family? What can you give to him to help Obi, or what can Mike go to him, or what will they pour into each other that helps them sprout a new branch on their business tree? Like, and that's how we all need to look at it, instead of trying to like think that if I help this person, or if I tell him this secret, what secret you know about coffee? like,
Yeah.
like, what secret do you know about manufacturing? What secret do you know about? Oh, if I introduce somebody to my people in China, they're gonna make something that's something like mine. You can't make nothing like mine. My patent. You gonna have to pay me. I didn't prove that twice now. I see it on the internet. It look like mine. I need a check. What kind of check you got for me, bro? I need some proof. I need some proof of what you bought, how many containers you got, and how much do you plan on giving me off each sale that happened before, and what's happening now if you want to continue to sell this product. That's what we need to talk about, because you can't copy mine because I did my shit the right way. So I ain't got to worry about nothing. You want to talk to my supplier in China because you got an idea? Call me, reach out to me, email me. I send you a number. I don't care who you are. You can't mess with what I got because I made sure my stuff tight. So I have no problems there.
But I'm also starting to realize, like, it sucks. It's something about, because for one, it's a lifestyle at this point. Like, you've been doing this long, you've been doing business longer than I have. That's one thing I noticed. It's lifestyle. It's not just my job or my career or I'm an entrepreneur. It's a lifestyle. So for me, like last year, I went to Panama in January to go and look at a coffee farm because I want to offer different coffee options. But when I talk about it, oh yeah, I went to Panama, blah blah blah. People are like, oh man, you want Panama? You on vacation? I was like, really? No, not. I was like, yeah, it seems like vacation, but like I'm at a coffee farm. I'm in these raggedy Jeeps going up the side of a mountain, you know what I mean, for like 3-4 hours. And I'm thinking we finna fall over the edge, you know what I'm saying? Because we going up so high. I'm like, but I'm actually working. I went to Colombia, check out another coffee farm. Once again, people thinking, oh, you just vacation, you just traveling all over the place. I'm like, no, I'm actually working.
Because people like to go.
You know what I'm saying? I went to Vietnam last year. Why? Because I'm working. And I tell folks this, I'm like, that's because that's what's required of my job. Like, it's more than just my job. This is my lifestyle. Live it. Like this is part of what I do. This is part of my business. This is me. I have literally put myself in bags, in packets, in K cups, and in burlap sack bags. That is me in that bag. And what I found out was when you want to convey that to people, you want to share information, it's a lot of people out there that don't want to hear it. They really don't want to hear it. And it discourages me sometimes.
It's like that for everybody. It's like that for everybody.
It's not.
I started at 26. I had small time. And boy, I can remember looking up at the sky and saying, God, why? What the fuck are we doing here? You sure? How did I get here? Whatever I did, I'm sorry. Yeah, man. So it's not for the faint of heart, man. But I would tell you this. One thing that I do say is, you gotta have that spirit for entrepreneurship. And I constantly tell people, like, I encourage people to be entrepreneurs, but don't encourage everybody to be entrepreneurs. Some people are worker bees, and it's okay to be worker bees because some people are going to make a great living and provide great lives for their family being worker bees. This shit here, and I'm trying to keep it PG, but this shit here ain't for the faint of heart.
It's not.
And if you think it is, then you will be sadly mistaken, and you will be closed as fast as you open it, because it is a grind. It is a grind. It is a grind. It is a grind. And as soon as you think that you perfected it, a tornado comes, and you got to reinvent that perfection again. And you got to pivot, and you got to change, and you have to be open to it, and you got to be willing to put in sacrifice. And then, Obi haven't touched on it, but family. Man, like, I waited. I had my first child at 39. I'm a damn hustler. don't. I think I have been thinking about having a child since I was a child. It has been one of the most important things to me in my life ever. I have been planning and plotting on having a family as long as I can remember. And I waited because I know that my personality was one that I did not want my kids to experience the grind that I had as an entrepreneur. And so I really took my time and I said, no, you ain't ready yet. Nope, you ain't ready yet. Because that grind
Yeah.
is different. It was different for me. I don't know how everybody is. And now I'm in a better place. And I will tell you, glory to God. When I had my son 3.5 years ago, when I say things just started falling in place, it's like God was like, hey, look, I know you were scared of this, but I got you. And this was in your way. Let me move that out your way. That's your way. Now, I got some other stuff up there for you to get through, but this kind of stuff I'm gonna take out your way. And what always entrepreneurship has been for me is I used to see my dad get up, and my dad worked for Florida Power, like the company down here. And I used to see my dad put on that suit and tie every day, and he put in years. And my dad worked up until the day that he damn left this earth at 67 years old. And not that he had to, because God bless the dead. Thank God for the father that I had and the foundation he laid and the investments that he made to make sure that my kids will eat off of what my dad did. And I had to reinvent my plan for what I thought I was leaving on this earth for my kids, because my dad said, I already did that, bro. So I've laid the groundwork. So you need to multiply that. And I watched him work so hard and, you know, um, miss things in my life. And not all of it was work. As I got older, my dad was my dad and he had a life. And I always said, man, like, I ain't doing that.
Yeah.
I am going to come home whenever the hell I want to. Now, I should find out in entrepreneurship that I work more than everybody else in the beginning.
Yes.
But now, on Wednesdays, I stay home. I take my son to the park almost every Wednesday. I just moved my hours to my rim shop from 8:30 to 5:30. One day, I'm going to go from 8 to 5, and I'm probably not going to get there to 9:30, 10 o'clock because there is an importance to me in quality of life. And not only now that I'm getting to a different point, it's quality of life for my employees. Like, I want you to go home at 5 when it gets dark at 5:30, so you can experience what it feels to leave out and not feel like you were in the dark.
Yeah.
You know, and those things are becoming more and more prevalent and important for me. And, you know, you realize if you do good business, like you can close at 5 because people are going to come to you because you do good business.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to stay open to damn 7:30. I want to be Chick-fil-A. I want to close on damn Sunday while every other fast food restaurant is open and still make more money per capita than the other ones and have more profit margin and have more repeat customers than the other ones because I do good business and I have great service and great food and all of those things, because I don't think Chick-fil-A food is that much better than the other ones, even though I don't eat chicken and beef and all of those things anymore. But I don't think it's that much better. I think it is better because those nuggets used to be fire. But the customer service, the line that I see that's damn as long as a football field, but it dies down every customer serving 15 minutes is the reason why people go. It's not that the food is that much better. It's good, but it's not that much better. But it's the service. And so I've come to that place in life where I'm getting to a point where I'm like, I'm not going to be there. I got something I got to do. I take my son to school every day. I'm late because I got a 3.5-year-old. And you ever tried to get a 3.5-year-old dressed? It's kind of hard.
Yeah.
And that's what I do. So, you know, just the what entrepreneur does and empowering you for those things at some point in your entrepreneur life is so beautiful. And I'm probably gonna retire at like 52, 55, something like that. I damn sure ain't working till I die, and I'll never retire because I like doing new things. I like working. I'm sure I'm gonna have new companies and new businesses. I got about 2 or 3 right now. And if I have a damn idea, I'm gonna do it because that's just who I am. Um, but yeah, that's the freedom. That's the freedom, and that's what we fighting for. And some people I think in entrepreneurship they love money. I don't love, and that's why I can fellowship with other business people when what people would consider secrets. I don't love money. I'll never love money because it's more than enough. It's more than enough for everybody to get. And I love freedom.
Yeah.
I love not being having my value judged by another human being and being able to determine my own worth. That's the freedom that I became an entrepreneur for. The freedom of being able to go to my son or daughter's performance, a football game or basketball or soccer or whatever. Nobody can tell me anything. I can tell everybody to kiss my ass. I'll see y'all later. Have a nice day. Because some people can't do that. They have to go to work. Yes. They have to be there.
Yeah, that's priceless.
That's priceless for me, and that's what it's about for me. The family part of it, where that has put me now, from a guy who started at 20, 25, 26 years old, just grinding. That's the real win. That's the real win.
Yeah, awesome, I mean, you're right. And to go back to what you were saying, Obi, it's about, sticking to it, learning from your mistakes, fail to get up and get back again. I just simplified in my mind. When it comes to entrepreneurship, what keeps me going is I either win or I learn. Mm-hmm. Failure, that doesn't exist in my vernacular.
Learning is win.
Yeah.
Learning is win.
Either I win or I learn. In my opinion, that when you're entrepreneurship, you can't be scared. If you're going to go into entrepreneurship with that kind of mindset, fearing what you're going to lose, you're going to lose.
Yeah.
You're going to lose. If that's what you're putting in your head, you're going to lose. So for me, if like for instance, I come across a problem that I never encountered before, I either fumble my way through it or I make a phone call or I get to researching and I'll make my way through it. And once I get through it, they're like, oh, well, you didn't achieve this, 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 and this. I'm like, yeah, you're right. And better luck next time. I'm like, what you talking about? I learned something.
Yeah.
I said, what do you mean better luck next time? I still got something out of this. You have to have that. My curiosity is stronger than my fear. That's the best way to put it. If you want to go into entrepreneurship, your curiosity, your willingness to learn, to get it done, to actually find out what's required and what it takes, you have to overcome that fear of, people always fear of losing or fear of failure. This is how I look at it. I completely flip. You should be scared of success because you really can't predict when that's going to happen. Mm-hmm. Failure, quote unquote, is actually a lot more predictable than success. We can use those same metrics when it comes to 99% of businesses fail between the first 2 to 5 years. So in my mind, I'm not going to be successful until I hit year 6. So in my mind, I'm doing a 5-year internship. I'm learning. That's it. I am learning. I'm always in a learning mode. And when you're in a learning mode, you don't fail. You don't fail at all. You know what I mean? So, and what I say when you should be scared of success is, let's say you got a budding entrepreneur out there and they come up with 5 great ideas. We know once again, based off the numbers, those 5 ideas have a 99% chance of failing if they decide to pursue it within the first 2 to 5 years. Mm-hmm. The thing is that 1%, when lightning strikes, you don't know when it's going to strike between that 2 and 5.
Yeah.
How are you supposed to prepare for that? You can prepare for quote unquote failure. Mm-hmm. You see what I'm saying? But you don't have to be prepared to learn something. You can just literally get that information right there, process it, apply it, and be like, oh, okay, cool. You know what I mean? So I think people should be more scared of success because you get so used to the no's and this didn't work, that didn't work, that didn't work, that didn't work. The hard part is keeping that, like I know I'm going to hit that 1%, but at the same time, you don't know when that 1% is going to hit. And then when it does hit, you're scared because I think people are scared because they fear they're not going to be ready. You know what I mean? They're not going to be ready. Entrepreneurship is more than just, making money and things of that nature. You see parts of yourself that you've never seen before. You're put in situations where you have to rely on yourself. You're going to have to dig deep. Yeah. You're going to have to rewire your brain. As we grew up going to school and things of that nature, we're taught to think a certain way. But as an entrepreneur, you got to force yourself to become a critical thinker because you got to solve problems on the fly. There's no manual, there's no regulations or anything for you to go and reference. There may be some, but it's billions of information that you got to sort through and then find a common denominator to make the best move. So you got to be in a constant learning state of learning, a constant state of learning. And I pretty much the way that's how I maintain it. I always tell myself, I either win or I learn. There's no such thing as failure. Matter of fact, failure is learning. That's pretty much what it is.
I'm the guy who just jump off the cliff and I see.
And you find out later
I jump off the cliff and I see the rocks and I say, "Boy, you better learn how to fly before you hit the rocks. Learn how to fly before you hit the rocks, or it's gonna be a bad day."
That's how some situations be. That's how situations arise. Like it could be, like a good example. When I was in Vietnam, we did a coffee expo. That was the first time me and my supplier, we had a tent. We was out there talking to the public. We submitted our coffee for grading. We submitted it during the competitions. We talking to people, making deals. And so at the expo, that's where you come across all kinds of people. You come across all kinds of people from all walks of life across the globe. You got coffees that's coming from Ethiopia, Costa Rica, Guatemala, South Americas, Africa, all over the place. And then to me, I feel like I'm a kid in a candy shop. I'm literally going to each tent and just asking them questions. They're like, "Well, what do you do?" I'm like, "Oh, I sell coffee over there." They're like, "Oh, you're competition." I'm like, "No, I'm not. No, I'm not. You ain't got to worry about me." I'm like, "Yeah." I was like, "You don't have to worry about me. I just want to know. I just want to talk about coffee." I was like, because I know for a fact that, like to touch on what Kel was saying, he's not in love with money. It's not about the money. Money is just the product of your passion, of what you're doing. Money is just the evidence, the result of, oh, okay, this is what happens when I pursue my passion. This is what happens when I keep learning. Because when you go into that mind frame, it puts you in what's the word I'm looking for? It puts you in a scarcity mind frame. You're always focused on what you're not going to get, what you're going to lose. And when you keep focusing on that, you're going to create that reality for yourself.
Yeah.
You're definitely going to do that. So once again, being an entrepreneur is not for the weak. You have to have some kind of mental and intestinal fortitude to be like he was saying, like it's going to be nights. You're going to wake up at 3 a.m. Like, that's what I can do. Like people like, "Oh, I'm going to do that." I mean, it's going to be so many nights like that. You're like, "Oh, shoot, I can do that." You write that down. It's 3:30 a.m. Nobody's up. I'm bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, like, "Yeah, I can do this, I can do that." Then once I write it down, I take my butt back to sleep. But it's going to be things like that. It's going to be, like, for instance, I'm in a situation now. I don't want to talk too much about it, but I am formulating an international deal. This is a completely different new level for me. So once again, I go into it excited. I'm ready to learn, but at the same time, I still have to be cautious because this is a whole totally different stage. At a commercial level, on a global level, these guys are sharks. I'm not going to lie. They are sharks.
Take your time, young man.
Yeah.
Helen lost a lot of money trying to get the Capbox to England through Amazon.
Man.
Lost.
Yeah, like on a global scale, they are sharks, and I got to keep reminding myself either I win or I learn. But I want to make sure I learn. I don't want the learning to cost me that much. My budget only set for so much learning,
I'm going back though. Going back when this one right here come out. Going back. I got my ass kicked the first time, but I learned some valuable lessons. So I'm going back. So take your time.
Yeah. Trust me.
Ain't nothing wrong with a little ass kicking. It makes you smarter and stronger the next time.
Yeah, that's pretty much what it is.
Don't I know?
Gentlemen,
those things where you don't tell your wife how much I lost a lot.
Yeah, it was a lot.
That's a lot. Yeah, that's enough. That's not talking.
That's another thing to you budding entrepreneurs out there. Be prepared to be broke.
Yeah.
You're going to be broke. And when I say broke, this is what I mean by that. I separate the two. You got broke and you got poor. Poor is a mind state. Broke is a temporary financial status. Okay? So what I mean by that is poor is your average. I ain't gonna say average. I'll just say poor is a mind frame. So if I'm out here in the world, I don't deserve to have a business. I don't think I can do this. I don't think I can do that. I'm gonna just work at some mid job and be all right. That's cool. That's fine. That's noble. There's nothing wrong with that. But you're creating that reality.
Yeah.
You're creating that reality for yourself. You know what I mean? So you can't really, and then you got broke. That just means your money funny.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And your money funny because you got startup costs, you got overhead expenses, you got other people that want to do business ventures, which is a pretty good idea, but everything requires capital to get started.
Mm-hmm.
Everything. So if you're a budding entrepreneur, be prepared to be broke.
Yeah.
We're not gonna call it broke. We're gonna call it stretched.
Stretch in transition. In transition. And then you got to decide where you want to be stretched at.
You can stretch it, but once again, you got folks out there that don't have the proper money management.
Yeah.
Stretch.
Really stretch. Like I'm saying, look,
Oh, when that $10,000 deal comes in, we'll be all right on that. Stretch.
And you sitting there like,
$50,000 deal come over there, we'll be able to
take care of that.
We almost there, so we'll be okay.
Okay, this deal, I can put this money right here. I can do that.
Yeah.
Got that order coming in. Oh, we're gonna have to put a sale on so we can make money for that order. More money, more problems. Yeah. You sell 1,000, you sell 1,000 one day, and then your needs is at 3,000, and then you stretch 3,000. You ain't got the money for 3,000. You wait for the 1,000 to sell so you can have the money for 3,000, and you keep stretching.
Yeah. Well, gentlemen, I truly appreciate your time. Speaking of, I'm stretching my wife too far because my son's ready to get down for the evening. So I just want to thank y'all for all the insight. Thank y'all for your experiences. It means so much to share that with people that are of the same mindset or trying to get in that space. So you guys had today Rodney Murray of the brewbaby.com. He gets his beans from Vietnam. Sometimes he's going down to Panama, but you can go to his website, get access to great coffee that we don't necessarily experience here in the Americas because we don't grow it anywhere in the Americas. So Rodney, I thank you for your time. And Mr. Kellen Brantley of glasshouseclosets.com. You can see his work on display on the screen right there. Also Dubs&tires is in the Miami area.
Yeah, Pembroke Pines, Miami area. I'm 15 minutes away from Miami. Same.
Well, I appreciate y'all truly for your time. We believe at Space and Equity, when you increase assets and create new space, you can start to create your own territory, necessary territory. And we believe when you come correct, they can't stop you. Gentlemen, I appreciate y'all.
Yeah, thank you.
All right.
All right, we'll holler at you, man. We appreciate you, Obi.
All right, we'll holler.
Anybody that drink coffee?
We all drink coffee. I'm gonna get on the website. I'm definitely gonna hit you guys up.
Yeah, let me know. Put your name on that way I know it's you. I'll put a little extra something in there for you, man. I got you.
All right, sir. We'll see y'all.